viewers, welcome to Tritiyo Matra. The coronavirus pandemic has posed the single biggest challenge for the international community since the Second World War. The corona crisis sends shockwaves through political, economic and social systems. Like a spotlight, the pandemic is illuminating the geopolitical, economic, ideological and cultural fault line of our time. United States Agency for International Development, USAID, is responding to the COVID-19 pandemic with decisive action across the globe. My guest tonight is Derrick Brown. Mr. Derrick S. Brown was sworn in as the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Mission Director for Bangladesh in July 2018. As a senior Foreign Service officer holding the rank of Minister Counselor, Mr. Brown brings to the position more than 30 years of development experience. Most recently, he served as USAID Mission Director in Angola from 2016 and 2018. Also, he served as USAID Deputy Mission Director in Indonesia for 3 years and Acting Mission Director for a year. Prior to that, he served in Botswana, Tanzania, Mozambique, Ghana and Dominican Republic and Afghanistan. Mr. Derrick, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Zalura. Thank you for those nice comments.
It's been almost 6 months since the world has been going through a severe crisis for the novel coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. The virus has been detected in 223 countries. So far, around 6 million people have been infected, 370,000 have died, and around 2 million people have recovered worldwide. In addition to the negative social, political, and economic effects, there are severe health risks. Government and non-government organizations in each country, as well as various international organizations, are playing an important role in solving these problems. USAID, in the lead U.S. government agency that works to end extreme poverty and to promote resilient democratic societies while advancing security and prosperity in over 100 countries. Moreover, USAID's objective is to improve global health, including child, maternal and reproductive health, and reduce abortion and disease, especially HIV, AIDS, malaria and tuberculosis. Mr. Derrick Brown, has the corona situation posed a major challenge to current and future health issues in each state, especially in developing countries? Derrick.
Thank you, Zalura, for your question. Well, these are indeed challenging times for all of us around the world. You know, when I looked at the last stats, I saw that every country, is facing this challenge. There were only about 11 countries, I think, in the world that do not have any cases of COVID-19. So Bangladesh and the United States, we're working together to combat this pandemic. And I think with both of us teaming up together, we're going to be able to work together to solve this pandemic. The world hasn't, this is not the first global crisis that we've seen. Before we had the N1H1 crisis, the N1H1 virus, we had the Ebola crisis, and I'm confident that we will get through these difficult times together if we fight successfully. So I have no doubt at all that with us working together with the global and the international community, that we'll get through these challenging times.
Derrick, is it possible to tackle these challenges without a long-term plan?
Zalura, that's a great question. I think development outcomes are not possible without long-term planning and a sustainable approach. You must have a long-term plan. Researchers and medical professionals around the world, they're working together to find a cure for this deadly and invisible enemy. And so it's essential for us as development partners to have a long-term plan. So I think your question is adequate, that you must have a long-term plan. And what we need to do is we need help by doing our part in ensuring that we are following these preventive measures. So we're all in this together, and we definitely need a long-term plan.
Derrick, what steps must be taken at this moment to overcome this situation? What do you think?
Well, the steps that must be taken, as I mentioned earlier, is that we must work, hand in hand with the government of Bangladesh and with our international partners. Because, again, this is not something that is unique to Bangladesh. It's all around the world, affecting everyone. And it's constantly changing. So we have to be able to change and adapt our procedures in order to conquer this virus. And I think that's the important thing, is that because this is so new to us, so it's essential that we're able and flexible to change our plan.
Mr. Derrick Brown, USAID has provided over 22 million USD to complement the government of Bangladesh's ongoing efforts to prepare and respond to the spread of novel coronavirus diseases, that is COVID-19. Do you have plans to donate more?
Yes, well, USAID been in Bangladesh since the 1970s. So we've been supporting the government in Bangladesh for a long time, and we have, as you have articulated, just with the COVID funding, has been able to provide over 22 million to complement Bangladesh government. And we will continue to provide additional assistance to Bangladesh as we continue this fight. Because we must understand, Zalur, is that we have this fight, this COVID-19 fight, but we also have the other development needs that we're continuing to fund Bangladesh with. And
how this fund will be implemented? Any idea?
Well, with the 22 million, well, first of all, we're concentrating in strengthening the diagnostic and the laboratory capacity. We want to increase case management and infection prevention and control. We would like to improve the supply chains and the logistics. We also working in areas to enhancing the risk communications to increase knowledge, to dispel the myths and the misconception. Because when you look at it, Zalur, about 85% of the people that get COVID-19, they have mild cases, and they can survive with minor complications. It's about the 15 other percent that have more severe. So a lot of myths are out there. I think it's like the reverse. Like you have 85% of the people that get corona virus die, when it's the complete opposite, that you only have about 15% that have these severe cases. So we have this risk communication to dispel these myths and misconceptions. So I think that's an essential part of our funding that we're providing. The U.S. government also has been, through USAID, have been supporting the Director General of Health Services to develop the national guideline of infection and prevention and control, which we train more than 2,100 health professionals on the different areas and aspects of COVID-19 management, infection and control and prevention. Just a few weeks back, we had a collaboration with the Bangladesh Minister of Health, Family Welfare, and the Bandu Sheikh Majid Medical Center, where we officially launched these online courses. And that was another item that we've been working with the government of Bangladesh to support this COVID-19 fight.
Mr. Derrick Brown, since August 2017, USAID has been the largest food assistance donor in response to the Rohingya crisis in Cox's Bazar. On March 3rd, the United States announced more than $59 million in additional humanitarian assistance for Rohingya. So do you think this budget is enough?
Well, Zalur, as you know, that we always undergo changes, within every country. I will state that the United States still remains the leading contributor to the humanitarian response, as we have been each year since the outbreak of violence in August 2017. And today, our total humanitarian assistance has reached over 820 million, of which about 693 million is for programs inside of Bangladesh. So we're constantly, although we're one of the leading contributors for this humanitarian response, but we're constantly providing additional support for Bangladesh.
And USAID assists Bangladesh to strengthen its public health system with an emphasis on improving primary health care delivery at the community level. At the national level, USAID programs work with public health leaders to improve policy and planning, financial management, monitoring and evaluation, procurement and logistics. Tell us more about USAID's health programs in Bangladesh. Derrick.
Well, as you know, Zalur, the health program is extremely important right now. It is one of the most essential programs that we have. We have had impressive development results in the last 20 years, especially in the area of health and agriculture. The country has witnessed a steady improvement in child nutrition status over the past decade. And as we look now, we have more than half of the women in the country deliver their babies in health facilities. So we have made tremendous progress in the area of health. USAID has a health program with a portfolio of over $66 million annually that support activities that relate from maternal, newborn, and child health, family planning, reproductive health, nutrition, tuberculosis, emerging pandemic threats. So we have numerous items that we support within our health program. USAID health program, we contribute to about 35% of the total modern contraceptive use in the country. Through USAID supported program, over 40 million people have access to health services in 2019. And that's, is quite a lot. You have over 40 million people had access to these health services last year. In Bangladesh, when we look at over the past 10 years, the U.S. government, through USAID, we have invested over better access to quality health products, and that you get a health improved status in their communities, which will in turn generate more income for women and their families. So in 2019, USAID engaged more than 2,000 plus women and entrepreneurs in such activities as I just mentioned. So we're truly engaged in this area.
Derrick, how do you contribute to strengthening Bangladesh's health sector?
Yes, I just mentioned several areas that we're looking to strengthen for the health sector. Mm-hmm. And those were the areas where we have provided over $66 million in this area.
Okay. Coordination among various actors is a key challenge here in Bangladesh. What are your thoughts on that and how USAID can help?
You know, Zalur, coordination is extremely important. And, you know, I'm glad that, and we appreciate the government of Bangladesh with their initiative in terms of coordination. You know, the Bangladesh government, you know, has formed technical advisory committees and a national committee to coordinate among themselves to ensure coordination among the development partners and the government. USAID is supporting various organizations to develop a response to this plan. So USAID has provided online logistic reporting mechanisms to track and to manage the stock status of the COVID-19 medical supplies and equipment. So it's essential to ensure that national stockpiles of COVID-19 commodities are effectively managed and distributed during the coronavirus outbreak. So this system will enable the government of Bangladesh to make timely and informed decisions to allocate items among health facilities based upon their needs. So as you can see, especially with this COVID-19 pandemic, it's essential for us to coordinate. And I think we're coordinated, we're currently coordinating, and we wish to continue to coordinate not only with the government of Bangladesh, but with our international partners as well.
USAID also promotes gender equality and women's empowerment through its activities. So, Derrick, do you think gender-based violence will be increased in the post-pandemic period? And what initiatives should be undertaken for the smooth running of women's empowerment activities? Derrick.
Well, Zalur, that's a very interesting question. That's a question that actually I was just listening to a talk a few days ago and saw that gender-based violence is something that's affecting people all over around the world. So this is not something that's unique to Bangladesh, but as a result of the lockdown, as I said earlier, not just in Bangladesh, but all over the world, they have seen an increase in gender-based violence. And in fact, you know, we don't have the actual data yet to tell you the exact number, but a survey that was conducted by one of the leading local NGOs found that about 25% of a 25% increase in domestic violence in the month of April. So as you look at just in the month of April, there was a 25% increase in domestic violence. So gender-based violence is something that we really gonna have to concentrate on, because with the lockdown, it has really increased. Again, not just here in Bangladesh, but all around the world. So what we see that this is due from, we look at lack of income will increase tension and stress as a result. So it's likely that more women and girls will be victims of violence because a lack of income. If you're not having a source of income and a lack of income, violence will increase. So many poor families in the rural areas would try to get their daughters married at an early age, thinking that they're going to minimize their cost of living. Hence, child marriage may also increase due to income losses leading to poverty. So that's something else that we're seeing that we need to watch out for, because this lockdown definitely has put an increase in this area.
Derrick, we just got through Cyclone Amphan, and USAID has always been helpful to people of Bangladesh in the times of natural calamities. How Bangladesh can be prepared to mitigate the effects of natural disasters and recover from climatic shocks? Derrick.
Yes, well, we have to say, knock on wood, Zalur, yesterday in the cyclone season. Mm-hmm. However, we're still expecting tropical storms, throughout the month of June. Since 2001, USAID has contributed to the construction and the restoration of over 575 shelters in Bangladesh. And those have been critical in providing shelters during cyclone and other natural disasters. Those have been used to house people with the movement during the previous cyclone Bulbul as well as cyclone Umpang. So USAID have also been supporting training for communities and the most vulnerable areas to become better prepared to mitigate the effects of natural disasters, as well as recover from these climate shocks. You know, USAID programs have helped establish early warning systems to alert the people of flooding and incoming cyclones. So those techniques that we have been in partnership with the government since 2001 has helped improve the way that the government has responded to a cyclone. You know, USAID also developed a flood forecasting technology that was adopted by the Bangladesh government, which improves flood warning from 3 to 10-day warning, provides seasonal outlook for 3 months. That's a big improvement from what we had in the past. So when Super Cyclone Umpang hit last week, USAID were prepared in advance of the cyclone and assisted during the landfall, and is currently responding and helping the recovery effort in the 3 most impacted districts, which is Kunya, Sakatira, and Barashal. So we were there with the government, and we really appreciate the government response to Cyclone Umpang. I think the government did a wonderful job with their efforts with this cyclone.
Derrick, how important is the public-private partnership and the private sector engagement? Tell us about how USAID is helping the private sector of Bangladesh.
Well, Jalura, let me say, first of all, you know, the private sector is dear to my heart because I think the private enterprise is perhaps the most powerful tool for lifting lives out of poverty. That's one of the most powerful forces for lifting lives out of poverty and strengthening communities and building self-reliance. So it is now an agency priority for USAID that we increase and strengthen our work with the private sector of host communities, as well as embrace upon market-based approaches to achieve more sustainable development and humanitarian outcomes. You know, USAID is helping Bangladesh to address these development challenges, and that has threatened to undermine the economic potential and the stability. You know, our goal is to advance sustainable development. You know, we want to advance sustainable development that is owned and guided by Bangladesh themselves. That's development that's owned and guided by Bangladeshis themselves. You know, as Bangladesh is advancing towards becoming a middle-income country, private sector engagement is very important. So I think this is a central part of Bangladesh's journey to a middle-income country. So let me give you just a few examples to paint even a clearer picture of how we are working with Bangladesh in the private sector. You know, USAID is support the agricultural mechanization that has trained women to become local service providers to farmers. I know the Minister of Agriculture and Ambassador Earl Miller, we launched the second phase of our agricultural mechanization project last year, you know, at my home. And with this project, it involved operating agricultural equipment. So as a result, 139 women are now involved in mechanization service businesses, where traditional women were not visible. So this project has allowed women to be visible in an area that they weren't visible in the past. Hence, a mechanical starter developed by a Bangladeshi firm made it easier for women to start and operate machinery such as reapers and power tillers. I have to say, when you used to be able, and I'm from the South, Jalur, so I used to work on a farm. In fact, I grew up on a farm. So I'm used to handling a lot of different farm equipment and a lot of manual equipment that you have to put extra work to in order to operate. But seeing how they've been able to improve these machinery, they have been able to help women operate them easier. Not only women, but I would say that I can operate them a lot easier. So that's just one example. And then I got another example on Jalur. Last year, USAID connected over 200 farmers from Jashore with Bangladesh's larger retailer band called Shopno. Shopno, which enabled them to link directly with the private sector in order to sell their produce. Then you look at 1 year later, the number has increased to over 400. So that is amazing results. And those are the type of results that we like to see in USAID. Then my last example on the private sector, Jalur, is about in Jashore. In Jashore, USAID is building the country's first ever modern flower wholesale and retail center that has inspired the government of Bangladesh to build one in Dhaka with its own resources. So through our work in Jashore, the government of Bangladesh now has been inspired to build a same flower shop in Dhaka. So those are the type of things that we would like to continue to see in the private sector.
Derrick, so far I know that USAID has a governance program in Bangladesh. So could you please tell us how USAID supports Bangladesh to improve Bangladesh governance system? Derrick?
Thanks, Jalur. Yes, the governance program is one of our programs here in Bangladesh. We have our Democracy, Rights, and Governance program, where USAID is countering trafficking in person program, which is a training program or training local counter-trafficking committees and trafficking survivors about the dangers of COVID-19. You know, the COVID-19 awareness campaign have been able to teach citizens about the importance of physical distancing and hand washing. And USAID, through our democracy program, has also been able to train the district legal aid office staff about COVID-19, about the transmission as well as the prevention. You know, it is providing hand sanitizer gel as well as non-contact thermometers so that staff can safely work with their beneficiaries. So those are a few of the activities that we're doing now for COVID activities in our democracy program.
Derrick, we are talking about COVID-19. What's your personal take on COVID-19? How do you personally see this pandemic?
Well, Jalur, personally, it's something that none of us can escape. It has personally affected me as well as my family. You know, I get affected here in Bangladesh as well as in the U.S. When I look at, you know, friends that have tested positive for COVID-19, when I look at staff members that, you know, have been exposed to COVID-19 or their families have been exposed to COVID-19, when I have relatives in the U.S. that has been exposed to COVID-19. So personally, it has really affected me. I've seen different extremes. You know, I've had friends and family as well as colleagues that have had mild cases and mild symptoms of COVID-19 that has been able to recover. Like I mentioned earlier, the 85% of the people that have been able to recover from this virus. And then I've seen the more severe cases that has even resulted in death. So, you know, personally, I will say I'm personally affected by COVID-19, and that's why I think it's essential for us to team up and work together to fight and to educate people about what is needed and what they should do to fight COVID-19. Because what we see, not just here in Bangladesh, but we see all around the world, is that people are getting out of their homes. They're moving away from the lockdown. They're going to the office. They're continuing to work. And I think we all know that we can't stay in our home, all year long. I think we all get that we cannot stay in our home all year long. But what I do ask is that when we get out of our home, that we take on the right precautions to protect ourselves as well as others from this deadly disease. So I think that is what is essential, because I see so many people say, you know what, I can't stay at home, I must get out. But they're not doing what they need to do in order to protect themselves as well as others. And I think that is going to be essential. I think you just heard a few days ago when the government announced wear masks. And you've seen this in a lot of countries, that masks has become a priority for all countries. So I want to hope that people are taking this serious so that they can help fight this deadly virus.
Derrick, indeed, it's a very crazy time, dark time. So, are we taking any lessons from this pandemic? I mean, the world is taking any lessons from this pandemic?
Yes, Jalur, this is like part of, I think we all occurred like on-the-job training, because you have to understand that COVID-19, is new to us and it's regularly changing. So we have lessons learned and we have lessons that we continue to learn. Because, at one point, we took on the notion that we didn't need masks. And then later, as we became more educated about COVID-19, we learned that we need to put on masks, not only for those people that are ill, but even people that are not ill. So we are having lessons that we are learning, throughout this process. And up until we get a cure for this deadly virus, until we get a vaccination is achieved, we will be continuing to learn. And so I think it's important for us to embrace that we are going to continue to learn, and for us to adjust our system to be able to be flexible and adjust throughout this COVID-19 fight.
Derrick, you have been here in Bangladesh for the last 2 years. So how did you find Bangladesh?
Bangladesh, first of all, as you stated earlier, I've been with USAID for 30 years. I have served in 9 countries. Bangladesh was my first choice. And Bangladesh was my first choice because of the people here in Bangladesh. I think the people of Bangladesh is such a warm-hearted group of people, an open arm, and willing to go that extra mile in order to help others. So Bangladeshis have embraced me since I've been here, 2 years ago, and they continue to embrace me. So they have provided me a home away from home. So I feel that the people here embrace me as being one of their own. And that has really, truly helped me with my work here in Bangladesh, because USAID, we have programs in 64 of the districts. In all of the districts, we got programs. So pre-COVID-19, I was always traveling. Always traveling.
How many districts you have visited? How many districts?
Well, pre-COVID, COVID-19,
19.
I had pre-COVID-19, I had taken 14 trips.
Okay.
And have visited all of the districts except 2.
Okay. Okay. Anything else on Bangladesh?
You know, when I look at, well, one thing I will say is that when I look at USAID, we continue to work and to assist Bangladesh. When I look at some of our activity, because I think one thing, Delor, you have to note is that we're 100% in this COVID-19 fight, but we also have our ongoing development programs. Those ongoing development programs must continue, and we must continue to fight with those programs. So when I look at some of our new activities, USA Bangladesh has awarded $2 million to Helen Keller International to support intervention to improve agriculture productivity, increase income, enhance nutritional status of communities living in Bandarban region, which I think Bandarban is one of those forgotten parts of Bangladesh, a very unique area, Bandarban, on there. And I was fortunate to visit that area with the ambassador and look at some of the challenges that they're faced in Bandarban. Also, when I look at, we talked about Cox's Bazar, you know, USAID recently launched 3 activities with $6 million to support the ecosystem conservation in Cox's Bazar district, which is there to improve the livelihood of over 7,300 natural resource dependent households by reducing their dependency on natural resources. These activities will also encourage reforestation. They're going to assist with natural regeneration, rehabilitation of degraded the hill streams in Cox's Bazar district, which will continue to help that area. Because when we look at our work in Cox's Bazar, we not only work with the refugees, but we work with the host community. We provide equally to both entities. And one piece on, you know, pre-COVID too is TB. TB is tuberculosis is something that's extremely important. And extremely important that we get on the top of TB. And that was something that we have been focused on, we will continue to focus on. You know, USAID just recently awarded $30 million in assistance to ICDDRB in May to combat TB in Bangladesh. This support will help to improve tuberculosis care in selected geographic areas in Bangladesh, which is one of the 8 largest tuberculosis burden countries. You know, Bangladesh is one of the 8 largest TB countries. So intervention will support prevention. That's extremely important. Intervention will support prevention. Case detection as well as actively monitoring, you know, early diagnostic, timely treatment, improved treatment outcome. This activity will actively engage with the private sector, which I mentioned earlier. So when we look at COVID-19, we have to not forget about all of the other illness that we have here in Bangladesh. And we must continue to put forth an effort to continue with these programs so that we can continue to save lives here in Bangladesh.
Derrick, how do you project Bangladesh-US relations?
Well, you know, Bangladesh and U.S., like I said, we've been in partnership since Bangladesh independence. So I feel that we have a unique relationship. I think we have a strategic relationship. I think that we're continuing to change our relationship because USAID, we have been looking at changing our relationship from one of a aid donor relationship to one of a strategic partnership, one which you enhance that partnership, not just an aid donor relationship. So I think we have continued to build upon that since the early 1970s, and we will continue to build upon that relationship. And it's essential as Bangladesh take on their journey to being a self-reliant and a middle-income country. So I think the U.S. As well as Bangladesh have a strategic partnership. And you have to understand, our aid program here is the largest in Asia. So the U.S. put forth the largest amount of assistance for Bangladesh in terms of USAID. So when I look at the amount of assistance that we are providing for Bangladesh, I know that we're committed. And I know that Bangladesh is committed to becoming that middle-income country and being more of a self-reliant country.
Derrick, there are a lot of people in this country, those who want a good partnership between Bangladesh and USA. But there is a perception also here that people are thinking that US doesn't look into Bangladesh through its own eyes. US always look into Bangladesh through few other neighboring countries of Bangladesh for the last couple of years. Do you agree with that?
You know, I think we look strategically with the government of Bangladesh. Mm-hmm. And I think when we think about being able to advance Bangladesh, we have to be able to work with the surrounding countries. You know, when I look at, let me give you an example, Zalur. The ambassador and I visit the Sunaban pre-COVID-19. And USAID previously had programs there where we were helping Bangladesh government. And when I look at that, over 40% of the Sunaban is in India, then it makes sense to strategically work with our neighboring countries and to see lessons learned. Yeah. So I think we all learn strategically by working with our regional partners so that we're able to advance not only our country, but the surrounding countries as well. So it's totally essential for us to work with the neighboring countries because we're in this together. And we must be able to work and talk with our surrounding country. We must be able to talk with those governments, and we must be able to get lessons learned from those governments so we can enhance, Bangladesh.
Derrick, any final remarks?
Well, like I said, it really has been my pleasure to work and assist here in Bangladesh and to work with the government of Bangladesh and to work with the partners here in Bangladesh. I think Bangladeshis are committed to advancing their country, and I think that they love their country. And I think we all are here to advance Bangladesh to that middle-income country. And so I think that we will continue to do coordination, and we must continue to work together, especially with COVID-19, because COVID-19 is not here short-term. This is something that I think is going to be around, and so we're going to have to learn how to support the different systems that are in place currently and learn how to adjust those systems so that we can advance here in Bangladesh. So it's been my pleasure to work with the government of Bangladesh, and I know that we have a lot of challenges in front of us, but as long as we both are willing to continue this fight together and are willing to improve the situation, we would do well as Bangladesh will improve as well.
Derrick Brown, thank you so much indeed. Thank you for being with us. COVID-19 has either unleashed or expedited changes in global politics, the economy and society. We don't know when it will end and what the future will look like. But we know for sure we won't be going back to the world we lived on the night of December 31st, 2019. We cannot afford again to lose the battle over interpreting what is happening and what needs to be done. Over the next months, the groundwork of the new world order will be laid. We must make sure we'll shape the debate over how it will look like. Thank you for joining us. All the best.